I like to come to ceramics and have time to myself away from stress, and kind of I get to like disconnect from everything else that's bothering me and just create and be myself in there, which is fun.
For me, it's definitely having a creative outlet and a way to express myself in a different way. In ceramics, you really have to push the boundaries and learn to think creatively, if you want to make really interesting pieces.
I agree. I think it helps to learn your personal style and be able to apply that to different aspects of your life. Like, I'm interested in starting my own business, making jewelry or possibly selling ceramic art, which would be cool to have my own defined style and design. Oh, I'm definitely interested in doing some kind of business career with art. The college I'm going to offers a course in art entrepreneurship, which I think would be an interesting major, so maybe.
Yeah, that seems interesting. Going on in the future, I definitely see myself doing some ceramics just because I really enjoy it, and I can't imagine stopping it.
We came during school, during our ceramics classes, to set up the show, and we kind of struggled at first to figure out which pieces should go where and like how we should categorize them. But then we eventually figured it out that like color looks best, and then there were some like specialty areas, I guess. And through a lot of teamwork, we were able to put together a really good show, I think.
So this is our ceramics intensive portfolio show, and the students, this is their culmination of everything for the year, and it counts as their final exam. So the students have to pick their 8 top pieces to display, and they also had to bring their first piece that they've ever made or that they can remember keeping, and they're showing their growth from their very first piece to where they've gone to, like throughout their career with clay. It's really nice for them to come together, and 14 individuals trying to put together a group show can be a bit challenging. There's a lot of different styles, so it's a good opportunity for them to find a way to collaborate with their peers and to work with other artists and to put together a show that's not cluttered but is beautiful and is welcoming. So it's fun.
Well, we always really like to spruce up all of our shows with plants and greenery, but I've kind of started to make a habit of taking all of the old pieces that I don't really like and putting plants in them. A few of my friends and I, we've started this movement that we like to call the Put a Plant in It movement, and where we just put plants in pieces that we don't like or that maybe have cracks in the bottom, so that we can put use to the ceramics that we've made and don't really add to landfills as much.
All right, so this year I did a lot of experimentation. I thought I'd try out a lot of new techniques that I haven't tried before. Like, for example, this piece right here, I took a class over the summer, a figure drawing class over at Mass Art, and I thought I'd try it out on one of my pieces to see how it would turn out. We have some other figures here. I was also working with new forms of handles, so I was working a little bit with this piece right here, adding some braids to it to see if I could add a little bit more intricacy and excitement to it. Yeah, this is falling. I also worked a lot more with collaboration and with section throwing, like with this piece right here. I did some work too to section throw the pieces together.
They've done a great job, and if you didn't get a chance to take a look at all of their artist statements and all the people that we have to thank for this show, please do so before you walk out. This is the 5th year that we've been able to have this portfolio show in this space, and I have Steve Bramthman and all of the Gorse Mill Gallery artists that are in this building to thank for that. This is the oldest working mill building in Needham, and it is individually deeded condominiums. So all of the artists own their own space here, and they have been gracious enough to give us this space for a couple of weeks every springtime. So it's been really nice to have the kids come together. They have to set up this show, and that's always a very unique experience because there's 14 different personalities, 14 conversations that happen with clay, and then they have to try to make one unified show. So it's been a great journey and a great gift for me to be able to work with all of them. And our art director, Tom Carter, has always been very supportive of everything that we do. And thanks to all of you. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to work with all of your students. I view myself more as a coach than anything else. So if you look at all the pins that they're wearing, they are lovingly known as varsity ceramics. So all varsity athletes need a varsity pin. So thanks for being here, and enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, well, we call ourselves the Ceramic Band because we all just kind of like are all really good friends, and we feel like a family. We're in there a lot, like 5 times a week, so we all get really close, and it's really great because we can sometimes do collaborative pieces and like help each other out with glazes and stuff. So
Yeah, and we always all like critique each other, give each other advice, share our opinions just to better each other's work, and it's a really collaborative environment, so we all work really well together, which is really good, and we all help each other improve our own work. I think you learn that like we always make mistakes, and with ceramics it's really easy to just like flop a piece, but then you realize you can make really cool things out of the mistakes that you make. So I don't know, I guess in the future just learning from mistakes and working with your mistakes to make something good out of it.
yeah.
I've learned so much about myself and my creative process, and I also got the opportunity to work with the most creative, interesting, motivating, and just amazing group of kids I've ever had the pleasure to work with.
I would say the biggest challenge is for them to find their own voice. My goal is not to do the work for them. I can help them, I can encourage them, but I try to put my hands on their work minimally. The idea is for them to be able to communicate with their fingertips, and it's a foreign language, and for them to understand how to communicate with the clay, it takes practice. And the hardest thing, I would say, is making the time to practice. So I lovingly call the ceramics intensive students varsity ceramics. I coached before having my own children, and now that I don't have time to coach, I'm still coaching, because just like any varsity sport, it takes a lot of time to practice, and this is like their big event. And for all varsity sports, you need to have a varsity pin. So this is their varsity pin. I would say the amount of work being shown today is maybe 15% of the pieces that they've created just this year. They have a lot of work. Actually, in the supply room here, there's probably 40 more pieces that are not in the show. For Lindsay to put this piece on display, she has an inventory list that lists out what this piece is. She has a sticker on the bottom that says her initials and if it's for sale or not for sale. And then she also has to make sure she has a name tag for all of her pieces. So sometimes when students don't put shows together, they don't realize all of the legwork involved in putting the work up on this shelf. Also the lighting. The kids had to change around the lighting to make it so that it was showing all of their pieces in the best way. And also they had to be critical of their own work and their peers' work in a positive way so that we didn't have too much clutter. And they had to find what was going to work well together. And that was not the easiest thing this week for them to come to an agreement.